morning, everyone. It is an overcast Thursday. It's THG News Today with Mervyn Henley. It's the 8th of February, 2024. Of course, I know that the system has passed through some of the islands and will continue throughout the day today. I know last night some of the islands experienced heavy rain, flooding in some islands. So continue to remain safe. I know that the schools on St. Martin, you are closed today. That notice came out last night that all schools on St. Martin, due to weather conditions and road destruction or whatever the case may be, because of all of that, you have no school today on the island of St. Martin. Speaking of St. Martin, let us hear from Carl & Sons, the best bakery on the island, and we'll be right back with THG News Today with Mervyn Henley.
Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Martin for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are two locations, Coal Bay and on the Ponfill. In Coal Bay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Ponfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Coal Bay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you.
And of course, we're back with the news. If you have not already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss the news, especially the weather. It is very important that you kept abreast of what's happening in and around your areas, yeah? Let us begin this morning with news out of the Bahamas. Deputy Prime Minister and the Tourism Minister Chester Cooper insists that there is nothing to hide from the international press who are on the ground in New Providence chasing a story concerning the level of crime in the country and its potential threat to tourists. His comments came outside of the House of Assembly Wednesday morning, just after a local media outlet, Eyewitness News, confirmed that CBS Miami arrived in New Providence to scout interviews for a report on the ongoing crime wave, which prompted a travel advisory from U.S. officials. Cooper says tourism officials have spoken with U.S. media personnel and have maintained that the ongoing crime wave is isolated. You know, I expect them to say that. It is one thing with the islands, it is always isolated. It's not going to affect the tourists. No, it's isolated. So come on down. With almost 30 murders in the Bahamas since January 1. Oh, they're only isolated incidents. Give me a damn break. And speaking of that advisory, okay, I was just handed a copy of that advisory. Let me see here. It says, just part of it I'm going to read, that the United States Department of State has issued a level 2 travel advisory for travelers planning on going to the Bahamas. The advisory posted warns travelers to exercise increased caution due to crime, specifically on the islands of New Providence, which includes Nassau, and the Grand Bahama, which includes Freeport. I also know that the CBS News staffers on the ground in the capital, however, found themselves on the scene of one of the crime scenes of the murder in the Bain and Grantstown community. I don't know what's going on in the Bahamas. Every day it's a murder, and it's not even one. Sometimes it's double and triple. And now it's almost 30. And all the Prime Minister does there in the Bahamas, he travels up and down the place every second. Like he's not accustomed. Anyway, you know, I get a bit passionate when these guys, they get into office and their priorities are all mixed up and all over the place. And here they are, this deputy prime minister, trying to dismiss the situation, the grave situation in the Bahamas by calling it isolated incident. Dude, roughly 50,000 Jamaicans are said to have lost millions in a new Ponzi scheme, which crashed on January 29th after operating for a little over a year. The unsuspecting investors can be heard openly sobbing in a member-only social media group in the aftermath of the Warner Media Jamaica meltdown. Some could be heard begging for the return of monies they say they had borrowed in hopes of creating a better life for themselves and their families. This is so sad. One of the ladies in the group, you can hear her crying, talking about, it's money she borrowed. She borrowed money to put into the scheme, hoping to gain double and triple and quadruple. And these losses range from $7,500 to as much as $3 million per individual. And the Warner Media Group Jamaica is the spin-off of an entity, Get GXL, that allegedly defrauded thousands of people in Trinidad and Tobago last year. And these people ain't getting locked up. Speaking of these Ponzi scheme, I remember during COVID, there were a number of them spreading through the islands. Some people up to this date can't get back their monies that they invested in these schemes during the COVID era. You guys, yes, everybody, you want to do better and you want to improve on your finances and all of that. But these schemes, let me tell you something. Whenever somebody come to you and tell you if you put in $100, you can get $1,000 or whatever, run for your life. Run or chase them away, because it is highly unlikely, 99% of the time, you'll be defrauded of your monies. 99.9% of the time. And finally, in our news this morning, the U.S. oil and energy giant ExxonMobil says it plans to explore for oil offshore the Essequibo region in Guyana, where Venezuelan gunboats had 6 years ago chased the research vessels in oil concessions that had been granted by Guyana. In 2015, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro had unilaterally extended his country's maritime boundary to take in all of the waters of the Essequibo, Demerara, and Berbice counties after ExxonMobil had first announced its first oil discovery offshore Guyana. The company's head said it planned to spend around 60 to 70 million US dollars on each exploration well. Wow. Some serious cheese there. But that cost could escalate if more data has to be gathered and the stem drill tests have to be conducted. He went on to talk about, of course, everything that's happening with the Guyana-Venezuela border dispute, where Venezuela, of course, insisted that it has ownership of the Essequibo region, which makes up about 2/3 of Guyana and is home to 125,000 of the country's 800,000 citizens, have made a lot of people nervous. But the head of ExxonMobil said the agreement they maintain with Guyana is legal and they're pushing forward. So imagine this now takes place in Guyana, and I'm telling you, Guyana will be the place to do lots and lots and lots of business. Yep. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's our news for this morning, and please continue to monitor any weather system or other systems out there. Continue to be safe, and do join me again for a similar presentation. This is THG News Today with Mervyn Henley.